Good afternoon. I'm Bruce. Welcome to my No Name channel, and this is another Bali COVID-19 update for November 5th, 2020. And what do we have today? Well, we've got the numbers. Of course, first, exhausted nurses, domestic tourism up, cases of COVID-19 down, dozens, actually hundreds of tourists test positive during the recent long holiday weekend. Hygiene facilities in Bali receive a facelift. The Banyuasri market in Buleleng, Singaraja, is ahead of schedule. And are schools going to open in Buleleng? Oh, yes. Let's hope so. And don't call people names if you don't want to go to jail. Okay, so let's get started. Numbers. Okay, so we're still below 100, and that's been going on for the last week. So yesterday, 73 new cases. That gives us 11,979 total positives in Bali. 10,924 recovered, 393 deaths, and 648 active cases. So, all the Indonesians, 7 were infected in other regions that came back here. 2 were infected outside of Indonesia and came back. And the numbers, and here's my favorite map. Denpasar 18, Badung 15, Gianyar 13, Tabanan 8, Buleleng 6, Jembrana 5, Klungkung 4, Bangli, and Karangasem 1. And just a note that we had less testing over the holiday weekend, so numbers possibly greater, but still, it's looking good. Bali is going to be in a different zone, and I'll talk about that soon. So let's get on to it. Nurses. Okay, now if you've watched this channel before, you know that my oldest daughter is a nurse in Jakarta, and so I'm very sensitive when people say, there's no such thing as COVID-19. I've never met anybody that's got COVID-19. This is a fake news. Nothing's happening here. It's just old people that are dying. Well, the head of the National Nurses Association, Dedi Afrizal, said that nurses are exhausted after 8 months of dealing with COVID-19. He's requested the government to put a limit on working hours for nurses. He noted that even though the government had modified working hours from 8 hours to 4 hours per shift, this policy is not applied to all regions. And he said, imagine working in a hazmat suit for 4 to 8 hours a day. And if you've seen one of my photographs of nurses in hazmat suits, it looks like they're going to the moon. And they have to work in these. And nurses work hard everywhere in the world. And those that are working in hospitals that have COVID patients are at risk. Many nurses are worried because they have young children, babies at home, aging parents and grandparents, and they're afraid of being infected at work and bringing the virus home and infecting their family. To date, 2,890 nurses have contacted COVID-19 in Indonesia, and 104 have died. Additionally, 136 doctors have died from COVID-19. So the chairman of the National Nurses Association believes this number is going to continue to increase because a cure for COVID-19 has not happened, and there is no vaccine as of yet. And I'm not really going to talk a lot about the vaccine today, except to mention that an article just came out, and I didn't have time to go over and look at the whole thing, but it says that the government is put off starting to test people, like I said in the last video, in mid-November, which is like just now, coming up in another week or so, and has shifted to December. And according to this article, and I'll put a link at the bottom if I can find out where I put the article, Bali is going to be one of the places where they'll be rolling out tests. Okay, so thanks to the doctors and nurses all over the world, and especially here in Indonesia, for the work they're doing. And domestic tourism up last week. So domestic tourism, tourist numbers doubled over the long holiday weekend that was Maulud, the Muslim holiday. And many Indonesians had a 5-day break. And in Bali, 30% came from Jakarta, the rest from Surabaya, Makassar, and Lombok. And according to a spokespeople for both the airport and in Denpasar and the toll road, not here, the toll road in Java, health protocols were being put in place, and so people had been tested. And I'm going to jump right over to that story and then come back to what I was going to do. So I'm changing the order here a bit. So dozens of tourists show reactive results during the long weekend. That was the headline of one article, but then another article came out with even more. So dozens of tourists traveling on the long weekend last week were tested reactive for COVID-19. This included in Borobudur, the Puncak area, in Bogor, in West Java. People that tested positive were asked to isolate at the nearest facility and contact the closest hospital if they experienced any symptoms. And then a more recent article that came out just the day before yesterday, I think, or yesterday, 408 tourists were shown reactive for the test during the long holiday weekend. And so this is one of the problems. People are sick, they don't know it, they've been infected, they don't know it, they're traveling and spreading the virus. This is one of those things, and so that's why it's important to continue to do tests. And by the way, if you happen to live in Buleleng and you want a swab test, Kertawasada is one of the hospitals that offers it. I just saw an ad today in my Instagram feed. 900,000 rupees for a swab test at Kertawasada, and that's just down the street from here. Okay, so people are traveling around carrying the virus. Supposedly not here because they were tested at the airport, and I'm assuming they were tested at the harbor when they were coming in on their cars. So let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks if our numbers spike. Don't know. Okay, cases of COVID-19 down in Bali. So according to an article in the Bali Sun, most of the island is no longer considered a red zone. And in fact, I have an article where I'm talking about schools. So Buleleng is now yellow, and hoping that we're going green. So Indonesian military leaders praised the Balinese people and the provincial government for being disciplined with following strict health and safety protocols. This includes the wearing of face masks, using hand sanitizers, and physical distancing. And this has, according to the military leaders, contributed to the sharp decrease in cases in Bali. The head staff of the military command 9 Udayana Unit, Brigadier General Wijaya, mentioned that very few people in Bali are no longer wearing masks, and so that's positive. Now, you've seen my talks about the mask before. Here in Buleleng, majority of people, overwhelming majority of people, 99%, wear a mask. Some of them wearing the mask below the nose, some of them wearing it on their chin. They do have the mask, and I have to admit, sometimes it's hard just to remember. I believe in wearing a mask, but I left the other day to go to the store with with Zoe and Masha the bear, and got halfway there and realized none of us had a mask. So we had to turn around and go back home and get our mask. So sometimes you forget about this. Okay, so our vice governor has agreed with this assessment, and he noted that he would be very disappointed with anyone who was not wearing a mask or refusing to wear a mask. I haven't seen any stories in the news recently of anybody not wearing a mask. The rash of stories about foreigners refusing to wear masks has disappeared, whether that means they're wearing a mask now or people are just not reporting it to the news, or the government's just given up on them. I don't know. The vice governor cautioned residents of Bali to continue wearing masks if that's the best protection until a vaccine is distributed. He further said that Bali has to earn the trust of tourists and travelers by promoting healthy and safe tourism. And he noted that some people in the hospitality industry are still not on board with implementing health and safety procedures, and the government is working to make sure that everybody is compliant with these, so that these certificates that are being given out will be all over the tourist areas when we open up again. And when is that going to be? Don't know. Additionally, the vice governor asked the people of Bali to start opening their businesses again, because tourists that recently visited Ubud, he mentioned Ubud specifically, were disappointed to find all shops and markets still closed. Well, that's not true, because if you saw my video up here when I was in Ubud last month, 3 weeks ago, last month, some of the shops are open, some of the shops in the markets are open, stores are open, some restaurants are open, so, but not everything is. But at this point, I can see some people don't want to open because there's just not a lot of business. Okay, and let's stay on with the health and hygiene facilities in Bali. Tourist sites receive a facelift. So the Tourism and Creative Economy Ministry is going to revitalize the hygiene facilities of some tourist sites in November this month. The revitalization program will take place around the island. It's going to focus mainly on sanitation and health facilities. According to the article, several tourist attractions are not equipped with amenities, health and safety amenities, just like I mentioned, the vice governor had said as well. Bali Tourism Agency boss E. Putu Astawa said that the travelers will prefer to visit destinations that can provide safety and comfort, as well as clean and sustainable environment. And this includes the much commented upon toilet facilities in Bali. They're not so much commented on anymore. They used to be all the time. Maybe they still are, and I just don't see the correct social media complaints department. According to the head of sanitation at the Indonesian Toilet Association, she said that toilet facilities don't have to be luxurious, but they must be well equipped and run properly, because tourists are very concerned about toilet facilities in Bali. And Bir Bintang, mine's in the refrigerator back here, has joined in on this campaign to promote safety and health protocols on the island, and they're providing training sessions to more than 40 partner outlets on the island and assisting them in getting the CHSE certificate, and that's the Cleanliness, Health, Safety, and Environment certificate. And Bir Bintang also has a micro site at tetapbisa.id. Here's the link, and this features a list of certified tourist sites in Bali if you're going to come here. And I'll mention something about that just at the very end. Okay, because there's so much stuff here, and I left out a lot of interesting news because there's just too much stuff. So next, some home stuff. The Banyuasri market is 92.5% finished. The new market, there's this big market, and here's some photos, and you may have seen one of mine on an earlier video. So there's this huge market being made over at the old Banyuasri terminal area, and it's enormous. Just enormous. You can see right here. It's massive. And so it's 92.5% completed. And it's on Jalan Ayani, by the way. The roof has been completed, main electricity, finished, the garden arrangements, constructions of the main buildings, all that stuff is finished. It's expected that the market will be completed by early December, okay, within a month. And it's ahead of schedule. It was scheduled to be completed April 2021. Wow. So, a big project way ahead of time. Good. According to the Buleleng regent, the government wants the market opened as soon as possible so that it can help contribute to getting the local economy back on track again because of the slowdown due to the virus. And I've been watching this development of the market for quite a while, both from the road and from the sea when I'm out of my kayak. I haven't been out for a while because it's just been too windy, and the ocean is it's not ideal for kayaking. So I've been watching this, and so it's excited. It's going to be an exciting event when this opens up. It is going to be packed. This is North Bali. We don't get lots of entertainment here, and so like when McDonald's opened up, whoa, and huge lines. If Pizza Hut opens up, like it's rumored to, there's going to be a huge line for that. When KFC first opened up. So when this market opens up, it's going to be packed. I'm not sure how this is going to affect the local markets, especially Pasar Anyar, and you saw video up here about that when I went there with Zoe and my wife. And there's local markets all over. There's a couple of interesting ones that I haven't been to. Zoe and I will take a trip to one so you can see another one much smaller than the main market on Jalan Diponegoro, Pasar Anyar. That's going to open up, so that'll be interesting. And certainly going to visit that when that gets online. Okay, next story. Is our schools going to open here? Well, the Office of Youth and Sports Education is going to apply for a permit to open schools because Buleleng is now in the yellow zone. Okay, so I didn't know we were yellow. We have received a letter from our school, from school's teacher, Zoe's teacher, giving a list of all the things that are going to happen when the school opens up, all the safety protocols that are going to take place, how many kids are going to be there. You have to drop your kid off right at the right time. You've got to pick them up at the right time. They can't hang around. The Office of Youth and Sports Education believes that children's education will be more secure, especially for children who just entered elementary school. So, little kids doing online education, it's not an ideal situation. As somebody who's taught for over 30 years, I would rather do education face-to-face if at all possible. But in these situations, we do the best we can. The office is preparing a study on opening the schools, and this study will be submitted to the Bupati. The results of the study will be one of the factors taken into consideration when the Bupati decides whether the school is going to be open or not here. Preparations have been made, including facilities for implementing health and safety protocols. And as I mentioned, we already received a letter, and so some of these protocols, these Facilities include a sink, a thermal gun, hand sanitizers, tools for sterilizing the environment. And the letter came to parents, and you can agree or disagree with opening the school. And according to the instructions, students will be on a reduced schedule. Parents that disagree with sending their children back to school for face-to-face learning will continue to be taught online. And according to the authorities, the standard of education will continue to be at a high level, equivalent to students that are getting face-to-face learning. So let's hope that things open up here, because Buleleng seems pretty safe. Our numbers are not high. And as I said, life here has been going on almost like normal for months and months. Okay, and last story. Balinese woman jailed for calling another woman a monkey online. Yes, I'm laughing because it's kind of funny, but it's not funny for this woman. So, Balinese mom has been sentenced to 9 months in jail and a 3 million rupiah fine for calling another mother a monkey on Facebook. And apparently she used some other names on some other social media sites. The mom was convicted of violating Section 27 and 45 of the 2008 law on information and electronic transactions, which I've mentioned before, and this is why I'm always careful about what I say. Make sure I have sources before I say it, because this is a draconian law. Absolutely hate it. It stifles freedom of speech on the internet, and that's an issue that I've talked a lot about with a lot of my friends around the world, especially in Korea, where there have been a lot of suicides over the last year of K-pop and K-drama stars for cyberbullying. Okay, so where does freedom of speech go? That's a big issue that I'm not going to get into right now. But this mom, she, according to the story, what happened was that there was a graduation celebration at a school, Tunas Kasi grade school, and I guess some swimming activities or water activities, and the mom who's been sentenced to jail, her son was injured and she was upset, and so she took it out on another mom who was on the committee that organized the celebration, and so she attacked her, called her a monkey, and some other words as well. The mom took offense and apparently has some kind of pull, because this woman is in jail now for 9 months, and so I feel bad for her. This is taking this. Somebody insults you. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to deal with it. You're gonna put them in prison. Wow. Okay, but I say something about that, Mom. Yeah, put me in prison too. So enough said about that. If you are living here, you need to always be aware of what you're saying. Make sure that you have facts and sources to back yourself up. That's my rant. Okay, and so this is November 5th, right? Are we going to open up or not? Okay, no word yet. We do have people still coming in on the business visas and families, reunification of families. Are we going to open for Christmas? I still think that we are going to open for Christmas, but that's just my hunch on the way that Indonesia works, the way that Bali works, the tourist season coming up, all the little things that have been going on here, the numbers going down, this push for vaccinations, the push to get everything certified here. I would not be surprised if we open up by Christmas, which is only another 7 weeks away. But I wouldn't book your tickets because you never know. This is Indonesia. And so that's it for today. Thanks for viewing. I hope you found something useful or interesting. If you did, thumbs up. Thanks, I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And what am I going to do next? I don't know. We're going to do something on Saturday, which is 2 days from now. And so we'll have something up on Sunday. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for viewing. See you next time. Stay safe. Follow protocols. Be kind to someone.